Hello again. Yeah, nervous laugh, because I've been thinking about this way more than you have. Let me preface it this way. About 6 months ago, I turned off the comments on videos going forward, just because that was stressing me out. I'd say, okay, for a little while, I'm gonna just have the comments off and see how that goes, and I'll let you know. So this is 6 months later, just a little while. I figured I'd come back and let you know how it's been going, and what I'm gonna do in the future, and probably just talk it through myself, because a lot of this is just, maybe it's a symptom of this channel and why I turned off the comments. A lot of this channel is me talking to myself, trying to figure things out. So yeah. So it's been 6 months. Let me tell you about being on social media without any interaction on your channel. Yeah. So how has it been for me? I've still continued to release videos. I did a lot of weekly check-ins of videos. I don't know if I'm going to continue with that, but that's what I did. I did like little check-ins of I'm reading this week, and there was a lot of repetition because I'm a slow reader. But I had that, and I had reviews and stuff like that, and you know, positives were that when I'd release a video, I didn't find myself being anxious. I didn't find myself like, oh, wanting to go back and check, did anyone leave a comment? And the thing about that being, in my little twisted little made up world, it was like, oh God, someone left a comment. Oh no, now I have to respond to it. Or, oh God, nobody responded to my video. Oh God, it's a failure. So it's like, I'm definitely was always in that catch-22 of if I got a comment, it was terrible, or it was anxious, and if I didn't get a comment, it was also terrible and I was anxious. So that just kind of blanked that. I didn't have to worry about that anymore. I'd release it, and then I could just let it go, and that was it, and I could move on. And that was I have to say that was a bit of a freeing thing for me. That was a good thing. I know a lot of people, it's like, well, I'm doing this because I want to make connections. I want to have interactions. I want to, get in there with other people and bounce off and be and stuff like that. I, for whatever reason, whatever I've done, whenever I've done something creative wise, I've always enjoyed creating, and I've always found sharing a really anxious making thing for me. It's always been very, very anxious. And that was, as I did in that little blurb at the end of all my videos, it's at the end of all my description boxes. I love my description boxes still. It's always negative or positive. It stressed me out. It stressed me out. So it was very freeing not to have that. Yeah. And I mean, for me, I think, if I when I was releasing videos with comments, it was like, then it was just like the mental work of trying to craft a response. And you would laugh at me of like, I would get like, someone would say, yeah, oh, good job. And it would take me a long time to come up with a thank you response. The amount of mental work that was continually churning, God help if there was actually someone who left a really intelligent, thoughtful thing, and that kind of demanded like, oh, me to kind of think up and look up and think about stuff. It's like that would take a lot of mental effort for me. And it was energy I did not have. So just to not have that was a good thing, for me. Even though that I will get to negatives in a second there. So, but there's the positive of that. There will be negatives to that as well. There was also a thing of that I found that I don't know if other booktubers and just content creators in general feel like that. It's like, you'll go away and you'll do something, and you'll be like absent from YouTube, from booktube for a while because you're working on something, and then you come back and you post your thing, and then suddenly you're back here and you're looking at other people's stuff, and just coincidentally when you're posting something new, you're suddenly having more interaction. You're commenting on other people's videos, and I would always feel terrible. It's like, I'm the shitty person who isn't around unless it's like, oh, look, I'm still here. Look, I've got something here. I'm going to comment on your stuff so you can come over and comment on my stuff. And it's just like, I would feel shitty. I would feel shitty and needy, even though that wasn't the intent, even though it felt structurally like that is why it was there. So that there was a positive thing of, I flattened it out. It wasn't like, if I commented, which I very infrequently comment on people's stuff, it wasn't me going like, oh, I'm being needy or anything like that. Just that is how my brain works. That is how my brain works. Going in, so there's positives and negatives. There's also kind of neutrals for me. One of the neutrals was, I can't remember what I think my subscription thing was like 650 something, and it's 660 something. So 6 months, and I've grown. I mean, I've lost definitely subscribers, and I've gained subscribers. But it's, minuscule. It's tiny. It's like, Steve Donahue sneezes and he gains more subscribers than I do in 6 months. Because he's of course, he's going to 12K, but he's going to be, 50, 60, 1 million any day now. Sorry, Steve. Actually, I don't have to be sorry, because I know Steve is taking his well-deserved break at this point. Someone who gives so much to BookTube in general, and that we should all be grateful for. And thank goodness he takes a little personal time. There, my little Steve Donahue appreciation thing there. But yeah, it's like, it's a negative and it's a positive, it's a neutral. It basically comes as a neutral thing to me. The worst thing that could happen to me is that my channel would grow and I would get a lot of subscribers. Now, and there is also the grasping, I want love side that would be like, oh, I also want to get lots of subscribers. No, I don't. So they kind of, they clash and they squish each other, and it becomes a neutral. Like, yeah, I'm not, this is not the way to meteoric heights. I'm actually surprised I haven't lost more subscribers. I mean, the thing is with that, I'm sure at some point the YouTube algorithm will glance my way and the numbers will plummet, because if you don't have the engagement that YouTube wants, that I'm sure that you just get squooshed and squooshed and squooshed. But for me, I think this is actually good. So this is definitely on the neutral side. Nothing's happened. I'm happy with that. Is this one a neutral, or is this is both a negative and a positive? How they balance out, I'm not quite sure. I've just taken a step back from the community. I am less a part of the community because I am not hosting one of these places where people can gather and chat, that people can't particularly chat at me as easily. I've taken that step back. So, I don't have that connection, as much a connection with people. So that is both a negative, definitely a negative. There's like people that I really, really enjoy and I love. I genuinely love on here, as much as I can. God, okay, as much as I can love people that I've never actually met in person, but that you feel like you've gotten to know through this box here. So that's been a good thing. I have to say there has been some negative things that have happened on BookTube in general that I've gone, oh, I'm glad I'm a step removed. It's not all negative to have a step back when, even in the most wonderful group, sometimes the group dynamics are not great. Sometimes there is negative stuff happens. Sometimes there are hurt feelings. Sometimes there's just, there is the negative and then there is the positive. And, I have trouble with anger issues and conflict and probably the coward. It's just like, I'm happy to be back here, looking at from a distance. That said, I'm also back here looking at a distance and I don't get all that great stuff that happens in the community, that really supportive, wonderful energy that happens. So that probably gets on to like a more unadulterated negative of not having comments, which is I'm not getting the feedback, whether that's corrections or ideas, or just like kind of the energy that you see in really kind of popping, well curated comments fields of, I watch booktubers who, like, they respond to every single message that comes in. They have interesting things to say back to the people who say them, and then there's great conversations. um I know that I would not have, I didn't have that kind of comments field when I was there. I couldn't, you know, there's a sort of instantaneous kind of conversational thing. And for me, when I would get a comment, it's just like, and I'd have to go away for a day and think about it before I could kind of come back with something. And it just wasn't the same thing. It was stilted. It was poor. It was a poor comments field from my point of view. I don't, this is all me and all my neurotic head, but from my point of view, that's where it was. And I think having a step back from it and then looking at other people's fields where it's like, wow, there's great conversations going on, and even where I've tried to kind of to contribute myself, however haltingly and however imperfectly and blunderingly, um, yeah, it's a beauty to behold when it's done well. It's a beauty to behold when it's done well. And I sort of, in some ways, you could say I've given up. I gave up on that. I just didn't feel like that was going to happen for me. That I wasn't able to put in, and that I wasn't able to put the work in for that. And maybe I just didn't. At the end of the day, I didn't feel like I had the energy or the capability to do that. I don't know. There's something about getting older that you kind of go, yeah, there's personal growth, and then there's just like, it's going like, you know what? I think this might be the kind of person I am, and kind of going, why beat yourself up over it, buddy? Hey, buddy. So yeah, those are kind of my negatives and positives. I don't know. Uh, I'm gonna ramble because that's what I do. And actually, that goes well into my next thing, which is, why am I here? Why am I a booktuber? Why? Like, of all these social networks, like, why did I pick YouTube? BookTube, duh. It was going to be, if there's anything that I'm passionate about that I wanted to talk about on here, it was going to be books. Whether I know anything about them or not, whether I have any insights or whatever, that's up in the air. But I definitely have the passion. I can own that. I can own that for myself. I think the reason why I'm on here is that I am a lot less self-conscious on video. I hopefully I can use kind of like the nonverbals to try and shade things. I just find, there's something about text that, from the beginning of me being on the internet, little Usenet board, comment boards, where you would just watch people smash into each other with these very blunt text things. It makes you actually really respect writers who somehow are able to communicate a lot more effectively in like the narrative form or in a just long form nonfiction in a way that that makes you respect them, because you watch everyday dolts like myself do it, and it just comes across as not as you're missing too much. You can see why offense gets given, why people get into horrible fights. People just pass. They just don't make that connection. Perhaps because there's a fundamental thing of how visual of a people we are, how audiovisual of a society we are. Maybe it's also probably lack of education at this point. People did communicate by letters, and I watch really intelligent people in comment sections who are actually able to do this in a way that I'm deathly afraid that at some point I would just step in it so hard, having watched so many other people who are intelligent people too do it, but just don't maybe have quite that capability. And I also find that with text, I can get in my head. Like, there's you watch me here, and this is sort of a document of me being in my head, but at least it's all coming out in one continuous stream. If I was writing this, I would have gone back, I would have cut that part, I would have cut that part, I would have edited, and then finally I just would have deleted the whole thing and given up, which I've done a lot. That's a part of the thing. It's like any one comment that I've made on YouTube probably represents like a couple of novels worth. It feels like a good couple of essays worth that I've written and then deleted, and then written and then deleted, and then I'll get little jags where I'll just go, whatever comes out, and I post it, and then I regret that, and I edit that, and I delete that. So this on video, I have a tendency to get a lot less in my head. Maybe it's because I'm a lazy editor, or a non-existent editor on video, that I say it, and then it's like, oh crap, I could spend the next 12 hours trying to trim back that whole thing I just did about comments. I could trim that all back, but it's like, you know what? I don't care. I don't care that much. Or it exhausts me in a way that just defeats me in a way that just like, I'll just post it. Just post it. It's mostly good. Fine. So that, I guess, is sort of why I'm on, I guess that's why I'm on YouTube. Why, of all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, none of that has ever, never, I think I've had accounts, and they're all just dormant, dust covered. I've never used them to any extent. Whereas here, I've been here for 4 or 5 years by now. Yakking on camera in a way that I guess is comfortable to me is something that I like. But the thing that was definitely the thing that was impeding me, the thing that was kind of going like, I shouldn't be here, that, as much as people could just say, look, Jay, just don't get so knotted out about this. I can't help it. I do get knotted up about it. And the thing that was threatening to kind of, for me to say, no, I can't do this anymore, was the comments. And so I said, like, well, I see people, like, you see a lot of, there's a lot of channels that just don't have comment sections. But a lot of them are more, they're either kind of institutional, or they're, I don't know. Are there a lot of, kind of just individual YouTubers that just kind of don't have comment sections? I'm not quite sure. I'm probably not special. If there's anything I've learned through my years, I know I'm not special. I know I'm not super unique. But I feel like this is the way for me to go. I feel like, at least for until further consideration, until there's some other shift. Maybe suddenly I'm the rock star in other people's comment sections. That's the thing, is to try and set yourself, realistic goals. I have to be the best at comments in other people's sections before I'd ever turn my back on. That's just a real good realistic goal. That's goal setting for you, 101. Yeah, like until I felt like it was going to be something that I would actually be capable at, which I don't think I am. So, Jesus, this is something I should really edit, but this is good. This is good because I've made a long video, and at the very end of it, I'll just drop this little thing. I figure, okay, but for the 2 or 3 of you who are left in this, watching this video, this long rambly video at this point, I'm gonna do a turnaround is fair play. You've listened to all this bullcrap for the last 18, 19 minutes. I've never had a Q&A on my channel. So I figured, yeah, let's do a little Q&A, whether you want to comment on my bizarre kind of inner world, or you just want to ask me any questions that you've just been dying to ask, or I don't know. I'm not an interesting person. But if there's anything you want to ask, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this comment section open, and for the 1 or 2 comments I get, hot girls at this link, I will try and answer them, though that hot girls at this link doesn't seem to really have much of a response to it. All the spam, yeah, maybe the next video will be a very short one of me reading out spam comments. Quite possibly, and that is fine. I myself don't like Q&As. I'm always like, why would I want to ask somebody questions? That's very presumptuous. And again, I can never think of anything interesting to ask people. But I know that some of the very, really nice people who've stuck with me through all this are are intelligent people who will probably ask me something that I'll be like, oh crap, I'd never thought of that before. And so yeah, I'll do that. I will leave the comments open here, and we'll go from there. Juan from Plagued by Visions, I do watch your videos, and you mentioned me a while ago, and I really appreciate that. And if there's anything that I could be proud of on BookTube, it's got to be then my interaction with you. That was really awesome to hear. All right. Yeah. Let's bury everything at the very end of a video. All right. I will leave it there. Talk to you later if you want to. More. Bye. Oh, and I guess ham hands. The best kind of hands. I am going to release this video on January the 1st, and that means that I will leave things open until like January the 8th for comments, at which point on that What's My Weekend, I will make the video and release the video answering the questions. So yeah, this is open for a limited time only, because it's not like it's going to go on forever thing. Just 1 week from January 1st, which is hopefully when I'm releasing this, right, Theo? So that, you'll try and remind me. Release this on January the 1st. Oh, she loves earlobes. Yes, we'll release it on January the 1st, and I will close on January the 8th, and then I will respond to the comments. I guess I can't shut off the comments, but if you leave a comment past that point, you won't be somebody who's your comment won't be yeah, it's going to be very boring, isn't it? It won't be someone just wants his ham. Yeah. So blah, 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 blah. Bye.